My parents were sitting in a courtroom, smiling. They looked completely relaxed. My father leaned back beside his attorney. My mother kept her hands folded neatly in her lap, wearing the same calm expression she used at charity dinners and family photographs. Then a sealed file was placed on the table. My mother glanced at it. For the first time that morning, her smile disappeared. I didn't understand why until the judge looked toward the file and said, "We'll address this after hearing how the child came into your care." 3 months earlier, nobody would have believed my parents were capable of hurting their granddaughter. Whenever my brother Daniel called from his overseas deployment, my mother always said, "Don't worry about Lily. She's with us. She's family." Daniel wanted to believe her. He was a single father, and his deployment had been extended unexpectedly. He had asked me about taking Lily, but my work schedule made full-time care impossible. My parents stepped in before he had to make another choice. "Just check on her sometimes," Daniel told me before he left. "Lily trusts Mom and Dad." "I will," I promised. It was just after midnight on a Tuesday when my phone started vibrating beside my bed. I almost ignored it. I saw Lily's name. My stomach tightened. "Lily?" There was only static, then her fast, terrified breathing. "Aunt Sophia." I sat up. "What happened?" "I'm cold." Her voice was barely a whisper. I grabbed my jacket. "Where are Grandma and Grandpa?" "I don't know." "They left." "Lily, where are you?" "In the little room. The one they told me to stay in." "What did you eat tonight?" Silence. Then she whispered, "I don't remember. Is the door locked?" "Yes." "Is the heat on?" "No." Then Lily started crying. "Aunt Sophia, please don't tell them I called you." I called my mother. No answer. I called my father. Nothing. I tried Daniel too. Straight to voicemail. I grabbed my keys and ran out into the storm. Rain hammered the windshield as I drove toward my parents' estate. When I reached the gated property, something felt wrong. Every window was dark. My parents' cars were gone. The main gate was locked, but I knew the pedestrian entrance used by family members. I hurried through it and ran toward the guest wing. One small window was glowing faintly. Then the light suddenly went completely out. I stopped. From somewhere inside the estate, I heard a child scream. I ran toward the guest wing, my shoes slipping on the rain-soaked stone. "Lily." No answer. I tried the door. Locked. I hurried to the side entrance, but that was locked too. Then I remembered the emergency key my parents had given me years earlier. My hands shook as I unlocked it. The hallway was freezing. I turned on my phone flashlight and moved deeper into the house. "Lily?" A faint sob answered from the far end. I followed it to a small room. The door opened only a few inches before hitting something. I pushed harder. A chair had been wedged behind it. "Lily, it's me." The chair scraped across the floor. The door opened. Lily was sitting in the corner, wrapped in a thin blanket. Her hair was messy, and she clutched her stuffed rabbit against her chest. I dropped beside her. "Are you hurt?" She shook her head. "When did they leave?" "After dinner." "Last night?" She nodded. I looked at the small kitchenette. There was half a bottle of water in the refrigerator and almost nothing else. "Did Grandma leave you food?" Lily shook her head. I pulled her into my arms. She was trembling. Then she whispered, "They said this is where bad girls stay." I pulled back. "Who said that?" "Grandma." Before I could ask another question, headlights swept across the curtains. Lily froze. A car had entered the driveway. Then I heard the estate security system chime. My stomach tightened. They know I'm here. The front door opened. My mother's voice echoed through the hallway. "Sophia." My father answered behind her. "Why is she here?" My mother entered the guest wing wearing the elegant black dress she had worn to a charity gala. She looked at Lily, then at me. There was no shock on her face, no guilt, only irritation. "What exactly do you think you're doing?" I stepped between her and Lily. "I'm taking her home." My father's expression hardened. "You're not taking anyone anywhere. She was locked in here. She was being disciplined. She was freezing." My mother folded her arms. "You always turn discipline into a crisis." I stared at her. Then something on the table beside her caught my attention. A thick folder. My name was written across the front. I reached for it. My father stepped forward. "Sophia, don't." That was the first time I'd heard fear in his voice. I looked down. Printed across the folder were 4 words. "Emergency custody, prepared." For a moment, nobody spoke. Then I realized something terrifying. This wasn't just about what they had done to Lily. They had been preparing for something involving me too. I stared at the folder. "What exactly is this?" My father reached for it, but I pulled it against my chest. My mother stepped closer. "Sophia, you have no idea what you're looking at." "Then explain it." She didn't. I opened the folder. The first page was titled Draft Petition for Temporary Guardianship. My eyes moved down the page. Then I saw my name. There was an entire section describing me as emotionally unstable, financially irresponsible, and unsuitable to provide a stable home. I looked up. You were planning to take Lily? My mother remained strangely calm. We were preparing for possibilities. What possibilities? If Daniel's deployment was extended again, or if he became unable to return, someone would have to make decisions for Lily. I looked back at the papers. Several pages were dated weeks earlier. They had started preparing this before Lily ever called me. Attached to the petition was a statement describing Lily as frequently defiant and in need of controlled isolation. I felt sick. She was 8. My father interrupted. She needed structure. She needed food. She needed someone to take care of her. His jaw tightened. You're making assumptions based on one night. One night? I pointed toward the room. You locked her in there. My mother sighed. You always turn discipline into a crisis. I looked at Lily. She was still holding her stuffed rabbit, watching them silently. Then I noticed another document clipped behind the petition. It was a handwritten schedule. School, meals, medication, bedtime. And beside several entries were my mother's initials. One line read, Guest wing, no main house access. I photographed the pages quickly. Then I sent the photographs to my own email and to a new message. Thread with an attorney recommendation I had received months earlier. My father noticed. Delete those. No. His expression changed. I picked up Lily's hand. We're leaving. This time, neither parent tried to physically stop me. But my mother's final words followed me through the hallway. You have no idea what you've just started. By sunrise, I was sitting across from a family attorney named Evelyn Hart. She studied the photographs without interrupting. Finally, she looked at me. The petition is only a draft. My stomach tightened. So they haven't filed it? I don't know yet. She tapped the screen. But if they did file something, we need the exact version they submitted, not this one. Why? Because drafts can be changed. She opened her laptop. And if your parents already filed their petition, we need to see exactly what claims they made to the court. She paused. That's where we start. And for the first time, I realized the folder wasn't the evidence. It was only the beginning. 2 days later, Evelyn called me. I found the filing. My stomach tightened. What did they say? They claimed Lily was safe, supervised, and properly cared for the entire time. Then Evelyn paused, and they denied almost everything you told me. She sent me the filed petition. My parents described me as emotionally unstable and claimed I had barely been involved in Lily's life. They said I had arrived unexpectedly, made reckless accusations, and tried to interfere with their temporary care of her. Their story looked polished. Then Evelyn showed me the exhibits attached to the court file. The security records showed my parents leaving the estate shortly after, dinner and remainings, away until shortly after my arrival. During that same period, Lily's phone call had come from inside the guest wing. Then there was the schedule. The original document had been recovered from my parents' own records, and Evelyn had arranged for it to be properly authenticated. Beside the entry for Lily's evening routine were my mother's initials. Guest wing, no main house access. Evelyn looked at me. They're saying Lily had unrestricted access to the house. I stared at the page, but their own records say she didn't. Exactly. The documents, photographs, security records, and phone records were assembled into one sealed courtroom file. The same kind of file I had seen sitting on the table at the beginning of this nightmare. The emergency hearing began the next morning. My parents arrived looking confident. Their attorney argued that I was emotional and unreliable. Then Evelyn stood. She didn't accuse my parents of anything she couldn't support. Instead, she walked the judge through the evidence. First came the petition, then the security records, then the phone records establishing when Lily called me. Finally, she presented the authenticated schedule. The judge studied the documents. Counselor, he said, how do you establish these security records? Evelyn explained that they came directly from the estate's security system. And the phone records? Obtained through the appropriate records process, Your Honor. The judge nodded. Then he turned toward my parents. Your petition states that the child had access to the main residence? My mother swallowed. Yes. The judge lifted the schedule, then explained this. She looked at the page. My father leaned toward their attorney. Whispers followed, but no explanation came. Their attorney finally said, Your Honor, there may have been a misunderstanding regarding the notation. The judge looked back at the schedule. A misunderstanding that appears in your client's own records? Silence. The judge reviewed the remaining evidence before making his decision. He granted me temporary emergency custody of Lily and ordered a further investigation into my parents' conduct. My parents hadn't confessed. They didn't need to. Their carefully constructed story had been weakened by the very records they had created and submitted. 2 weeks later, Daniel came home. The moment he saw Lily, he dropped his bag and pulled her into his arms. She cried against his chest. Then Daniel looked at me. "Thank you." I couldn't answer. Months later, Lily was laughing again. She slept peacefully. She stopped asking whether she was allowed to eat. And my parents? Their wealth still bought them lawyers. Their reputation still opened doors. But it could no longer erase what the records showed. Because the sealed file that once looked like their protection had become the clearest record of what they had tried to hide. They thought nobody would believe Lily. They were wrong. If you enjoyed this story, subscribe to Revenge Diaries for more powerful family betrayal. Revenge and justice stories